Good morning, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here. And on behalf of the National Maritime Foundation, and as far as for me also, I'm indebted to the St. Joe's and the Al Singh College for giving this opportunity to speak at this forum. And of course, the NMF, because much of our people from NMF are here, almost 17 I can count. So it's a great opportunity for us to be here. My topic this morning is maritime trade and piracy. And this picture on your screen is what you see is the merchant motor vessel Ruin, which was hijacked on the 14th of December 2023 by Somali pirates, and subsequently it was rescued by the Indian Navy. So the Ruin, as I said, was hijacked on 14th of December, and sometime in December 2023, INS Kochi, that's not 24, 23, Indian naval ship Kochi intercepted this ship. That time it was in the control of pirates. However, because one crew member was injured, he was transferred to the Indian naval ship and then transferred to Oman. But we kept tracking this ship, and finally in March 24, on 15th and 16th, INS Kolkata, another ship of the Kolkata class, was intercepted this vessel. And here you can see, I don't know if the screen is quite visible. Maybe you can turn off this light so the screen is visible. So there is the C-17 aircraft of the Indian Air Force on the top left, and then you can see the parachute drops by the Navy's Marine Commandos, and the photograph itself is being taken by has been taken from INS Kolkata. So over about 16, 17 hours of intense operations, this ship was finally intercepted and recaptured. Pirates were captured and brought to India for prosecution, and crew was, of course, released. So this is the context in which maritime piracy I want to talk about this morning. There are several aspects of maritime piracy. We can talk about the reasons for the rise of piracy. We can talk about the socio-economic and environmental aspects, the tactics of pirates, what they use, how they use, the who's funding them, the financial aspects, what are the actions being taken by the governments, what are the actions being taken by multinational organizations. But I want to talk about impact on trade, and that because that is a topic which has been given to me. So when we talk about piracy in modern times, our mind automatically goes towards piracy off the coast of Somalia. The reasons are many of why this pirates, in the first place, piracy happened in Somalia. I won't go into that. But at its height, that is sometime in 2010-11, almost 32 ships were in pirates' custody with almost 736 hostages at that point of time. And when I look at, this is the Information Fusion Center, Indian Ocean region, and we are fortunate Commander Avir Sharma will speak next on what is the IFC IOR all about. But in the NMF, we are tracking this IFC IOR's inputs. They publish beautiful reports, weekly, monthly, annual. And I would just request you to focus on the top row, which is piracy and armed robbery. And as you can see, in the last 5 years, piracy perhaps dipped a bit in 2021 because of COVID. The ships were not there, but it has again increased and it has come back to previous levels. This slide shows in last year, that is 2024, month-wise, what were the incidents of piracy. So you can see January 36, February 18, and so on and so forth. But this is not the complete picture, because these incidents are not that all ships were, 36 ships, for example, were captured in January. No, it has been classified in various heads. It includes sea theft, wherein some ship is in your harbor, say port of Mumbai, and some thieves just steal some items from the ship. That is called sea theft. That is also categorized in this. And then sea robbery, suspicious approach, and so on and so forth. I won't go into the details here. But let's look at this Indian Ocean region, and this is what the Indian Navy is more concerned about, and we as India also we are concerned about. So we'll focus on the Indian Ocean region. It's a busy place. As you can see, the green lines on the sea area, these are the international shipping lanes through which most of the merchant ships travel in the world. And you can see, as far as India is concerned, all the ISLs in this Arabian Sea are converging towards India. So in this region, annually almost 165,000 ships cross, carrying almost a third of the world's bulk cargo. Bulk cargo means grain, coal, etc. Almost half of the world's containers and 2/3 of world's oil. So it's very important area. Now, how this trade has been impacted by piracy? First of all, of course, is the well-being of the ship's crew has been impacted, because they are the people who have had to bear the brunt of pirate acts. This is a very familiar picture. This is Captain Phillips of Maersk, Alabama. Of course, this is Tom Hanks in the movie. This is Captain Phillips being received after his rescue on the USS Bainbridge. So Maersk, Alabama was hijacked by pirates in April of 2009, and within about 3 to 4 days, the US Navy intervened and rescued the ship's captain. Then this is a French yacht Tanit. This was just a week before Maersk, Alabama happened. This was just a French family, 5 people, going on a yacht on a cruise, and then they were hijacked by Somali pirates. So the French Navy intervened, rescued the yacht, but one of the crew members was killed in the action. As far as India is concerned, we look at the motor vessel Albedo. There were 2 Indian sailors among other multinational crew. It was hijacked in 2010 and released in 2014. 4 years this ship was in captivity. The pirates could not maintain it. So you can see in the lower box, the ship actually sank while it was in pirates' captivity. And some, I think 2 or 3 crew members drowned also. 1 Indian sailor perished because of, I think, cholera, and 1 was released and he came back to India. This is motor tanker Royal Grace, hijacked again in March 2012 and released a year later. There were 17 sailors on board. Then there was motor vessel Iceberg, on which there were 16 sailors, hijacked in March 2010 and released in 2012. Almost 1,000 days in captivity. Then there was MV Asphalt Venture, 15 Indian sailors. It was hijacked on 28th September of 2010 and released 4 years later. Of course, the Indian sailors, they came back in batches. It depended on who paid ransom, for whom the ransom was paid, and who the pirates released. So this was also there. It has not ended. More recently, in 2025, 7 Indian sailors of the motor vessel Bitu River, which was sailing from Lome to Cameroon in the Gulf of Guinea, was hijacked on 17th of March this year. There are 7 Indian sailors. I think they are still held hostage, but perhaps IFC IOR must be having some other information. So this is still ongoing. Now let's look at the economic cost. The first, the ship's crew, and then economic costs. First is, of course, the ransom payments. As per some data, from 2010, 11, and 2012, these were the 3 years where piracy was at its peak in the coast of Somalia. This is the cost which we paid, which was paid as ransom. That is in 2010, $176 million, close to around 1,500 crores. You could actually buy 3 ships with that money. In 2011, $160 million, and 2012, 31.75. So the World Bank estimates that in the 5 years from 2007 to 12, when piracy was at its peak, over $400 million was paid as ransom only. Mr. Rob Fair has written this book, The Ransom Drop. He is a former British Army helicopter pilot. He himself has dropped ransom for pirates of close to about $100 million. So you see how it was dropped. On the ship, there's a ship, and the aircraft drops a parachute tied to which are the small red bags containing actually cash. Okay. Then last year, 2024, the motor vessel Abdullah, a Bangladeshi ship, was released on payment of $5 million. And recently, I think last year again, a Chinese fishing boat has been captured, and pirates have demanded $10 million as ransom. So ransom is a big thing. The next thing is ship's insurance. That means every ship, like any other vehicle, is insured. So again, according to the data which I have, in 2010, 460 million to 3.2 billion US dollars was paid in extra insurance cost. And so 2011 and 2012 figures are also there. This is a huge amount. Why this happened is, if you see on this left figure, this shows the coast of Somalia, and it also shows from yellow to orange how the piracy increased over 2007, 8, 9, 10. And this became the high-risk area. This was published in 2011 in something called BMP4, the Best Management Practice 4. It is a book published by the consortium of shipping industry. And this red thing you see alongside the western seaboard of India became the high-risk area. Due to the Indian Navy's action in 2015, this piracy high-risk area shifted away from Indian coast, and presently, as per the BMP-5, the next edition, this light pink shaded area which you see in the Gulf of Aden here and in the Horn of Africa is the current high-risk area. So this has all happened at some cost. Then there is rerouting of ships, and I have discussed the high-risk area. Why do ships reroute? So normally the ship from Singapore to, say, the Persian Gulf would have taken this route. They were just rounding Sri Lanka and coming up. From the Cape of Good Hope, going up and coming up along the Africa and Arabian coast, Arabian Peninsula. But because of this piracy, which you see in the shaded region, the ships would have to reroute, which is now shown by the red arrows. That means a ship going from Sri Lanka to the Persian Gulf will move closer to India first, because there are pirates, and then go towards the Persian Gulf. And those who are coming from south, from the Cape of Good Hope, will move further eastward, avoiding this high-risk area. So this is called rerouting, and it involves money because they spend more fuel. Also, if you have to go from, say, Singapore to the northern Europe, then this is the dotted line is the route you normally take. But because of piracy, some shipping companies actually rounded the whole of Africa. And in fact, it is being done right now also because of the tensions in the Red Sea, that is the Houthi attacks which are ongoing. So this rerouting costs are also to the order of $2.4 to $3 billion in these 3 years. Then we come to security equipment and guards. Because of pirates, the merchant ships started taking their own private guards. They started installing security equipment. And this cost is also about $1 billion, somewhere about half to $1 billion over the 3 years. What this entails is, you see this picture on the top left, these are the private guards on board a merchant ship. Then on the right, a merchant ship is spraying water so that pirates cannot climb it. And now this all required modifications. Then on the lower left, you can see the barbed wire, which you see on the boundary walls. This has actually even now being installed on board ships so that pirates can't climb. And the bottom right is called LRAD, long range acoustic device. Basically, it's a device which makes such a loud sound so that it deters pirates from approaching the ship itself. These armed guards, which I just said, had some second order effects. The first, both effects involved India. This USNS Rappahannock incident in July 2012, this ship was operating in the Persian Gulf off Dubai, and an Indian fishing boat approached it, and they fired on it, mistaking it for a pirate boat. One fisherman lost his life. And the bottom one is the more famous one, the Enrica Lexi incident, which became a big legal case between India and Italy, again in February of 2012. Then there are the cost of naval forces and military operations. I have shown what Indian Navy has done. So what are the costs? It also has costs. So in 2010, almost $2 billion was spent, and the same, and that is being done even till now. So the Indian Navy, since 2008, has deployed a number of ships, I think more than 130 warships up till now, and escorted more than 3,500 ships of different nations and over 25,000 seafarers. So from 2008 to 2025, 17 years, 24/7, the Indian Navy is there. So that has a cost to keep a ship so far away in the Gulf of Aden. This is another same graph, number of merchant ships escorted by the Indian Navy and how many pirates captured and attacks thwarted. I think this figure will change slightly because this doesn't include the recent captures. And in 2019, then the attacks started happening in the Persian Gulf, not by the pirates, but by other actors. So we started Operation Sankalp. This is still ongoing on 31st of March in the Indian Ocean. This is INS Tarkash. She was on patrol, basically on a mission, and it spotted a suspicious craft. This is the one on the bottom. It could have been a pirate boat. It could have been anything. So they checked it, and they carried out a thorough search. You can see there's a helicopter in the air. So this it's an elaborate operation, this is a separate subject in itself. And the ship seized almost 2 tons of hashish and 121 kg heroin. It is a big catch. So, and all this narcotics, terrorism, narcotics, piracy, narcotics, illegal fishing, everything is interlinked. You can't just talk of piracy alone. But apart from India, then there is the combined maritime forces in the Gulf of Aden and Red Sea. Now there are 5 task forces, CTF 150, which is in the Gulf of Oman and Indian Ocean, 151 on counter piracy, 152 in Persian Gulf, maritime security operations, 153 in the Red Sea and Gulf of Aden, and 154 is on maritime security and training. Other than that, you are aware, China has built a base in Djibouti, and the Chinese Navy has been regularly sending ships there for anti-piracy patrols. Then the European Union Naval Force under Operation Atalanta has been operating also since 2008. So there are a number of actors there, and therefore that's why the cost has increased. Then there are other costs, prosecutions and imprisonments of pirates, that also has cost. No nation is ready to take them because they are caught in beyond your national jurisdiction. So everything has a cost. If India takes those pirates, there are costs attached to it. And then costs to regional economies. Because of all these reasons, there are costs involved. So there's a huge impact on trade, and in 2018, the World Bank had estimated that the global economic cost of piracy was at 18 billion US dollars. I don't think that even today, this figure would have changed much because the deployments are on. The only thing, the ransom payments have reduced maybe slightly. So to conclude, piracy continues to be a serious threat to global maritime trade. Its effects are both tangible and intangible. Intangible effects I have already spoken about. Intangible is on the psychology of merchant seafarers, the merchant ship masters, the shipping companies, and so on. And then impacts on fishing industry as such, because many pirate incidents have happened on fishing boats, which I have not covered. And very few organizations, like such as the IFC-IOR, covers these fishing boat attacks. But many big organizations don't cover it. Merchant shipping industry is not interested if a fishing boat is hijacked. So we have to cover that. It has to be assessed, and tourism industry. So multi-pronged approach is necessary to eliminate piracy. And navies and other agencies have had a good success in suppressing the current piracy, but it requires a whole of a government kind of approach, and international cooperation is required. Armed robbery is also a significant challenge. I spoke about it when I said sea theft, sea robbery and all. So this is of low intensity. People don't get normally killed in armed robbery, and there's no ransom to be paid. It's just a loss of some items from the ship. But it is still a significant challenge because it creates some kind of security threat. And the emerging hotspots, apart from the piracy in the Gulf of Aden and off the coast of Somalia, is the Gulf of Guinea. And it is also ongoing in the Malacca Straits and the Singapore Straits, which, the region which I have not touched. So I thank you for your attention. I think I have covered a bit of what in itself is a huge subject. Thank you for your attention.